How's it going on this glorious Thursday? Hopefully, you're all going to have a happy Christmas. It's probably be the last video I do for a while. I'm probably going to take tomorrow and Monday off, and since I don't do videos on the weekends, I'll be back here on Tuesday. With that being said, we have to get into District Attorney Jose P. Garza. Because now this one's a little complicated, I'm going to say right here with this particular case. But however, this is the latest attack on the cops. Austin, at least the Austin Police Department. If you were a cop at Austin Police Department, it was really hard to get you to switch to another district. It was really hard to pry you to another city. That's how good cops had it in Austin, Texas. They were respected, highly respected by the community, by the district attorney, by the city council. But that changed in the Summer of Love riots, where the all cops are bastard movement really took root. And then we got this district attorney, Jose P. Garza. He campaigned on holding cops accountable. And then the city council voted to defund the police. Now some are going to argue if their budget increased, then they weren't defunded. But that's not the point. The state of Texas government stepped in, passed a law saying that they cannot be defunded. If you have per capita, you must have a certain level of funding, which pretty much nullified the results. I understand the details. But the point is, the city council voted to defund the police. And one of the city council members ran to be a House of Representatives. This isn't about him. It's not about Cesar, I think it was Cesar Chavez, not Cesar Chavez. I forgot what his name was. It's not important. This video is not about him. What this is about is a DA who wants to go after cops with the full extent of the law and letting go hardened criminals to harm my fellow Austinites. I take this very serious because I live here in Austin. I live here in Travis County. This affects me personally. This isn't in some foreign country. This isn't in another city of Texas. This isn't in another state. This hits home.
The Travis County District Attorney is pursuing.
This hits home. That's why I'm kind of very frustrated with this. And I understand how he got elected. He got elected because Socialist or Democratic Society, whatever you want to call them, DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, always comes out in full force and votes. And my fellow Austinites sit on the sidelines complaining when they don't vote. Hopefully in this primary in a few months, when it's our turn to go to the voting booth, we vote not for Garza. That's our only hope in the immediate future to get rid of this POS district attorney. Austin police officer indicated in connection with the deadly November shooting of 2022, or 22, yeah, you get it. Officer Daniel Sanchez has been charged with a deadly contact in connection with the death of Rajan Murashan. I mean, it's clear that Rajan was having a mental break. I'm not disputing that. But the thing is, he had an AR-15 and he was firing the gun. Cops pulled up after he just fired the gun. Before he could even say, put down the gun, he turned around, pointed the gun at the officer, and the officer took that as a threat. He already heard gunshots pulling up, so he took out an active shooter. Now, is that a crime for a cop to take out an active shooter? According to DA Jose Garza, yes, it is. Austin, Texas, Austin Police Department. Oh, by the way, this is KView. Defenders. Author was Brittany Ebank, Tony Parhesky. Published on 9:29 a.m. Central Time, December 20th, 2023. Updated 10:21 p.m. Central Time, December 2023. So this was published yesterday. Austin, Texas, an Austin Police Department ATP officer has been indicted in a connection with the deadly shooting over a year ago. KView senior reporter Tony, I don't know how to say that last name, Pulaski, I'm just going to assume, has confirmed that ATP officer Daniel Sanchez has been charged with deadly contact in a third-degree felony in connection with the November 2022 death of a tech entrepreneur, Rajan Mushine. The Travis County District Office said that a special grand jury returned the indictment on Tuesday, December 19th. The office civil rights units will prosecute Officer Sanchez. On November 15, 2022, police responded to Mushin's home after a 911 call said that there was a man standing outside holding a rifle, pointing it at his own home. When Officer Sanchez and Stephen Martin arrived around 12:30 a.m., they located the man, later identified as a 32-year-old Moonshine, and Sanchez told him to drop the gun. According to police, immediately given the command, the body camera video was released by APD, showed Sanchez fired his department-approved gun at Machine, prompting him to fall to the ground. APD said Marquardt gave Moonshine a verbal command to show his hands, but did not receive a response. Officer Louis Bertel then arrived at the scene. All three officers approached Moonshine on the ground. Mushin, I think it's Mushin. If I'm mispronouncing this dude's last name, I'm sorry. On the front porch and began life-saving measures. Mushin was taken to the hospital where he died from his injuries. In the wake of his death, family members and other advocates have publicly called for more police accountability. Sanchez is on paid administrative duty. The Travis County Sheriff and other said Officer Sanchez did a walkthrough at the Travis County Jail before bonding out at 1:28 p.m. So he was arrested, booked, and released. District Attorney Office takes the work at presenting all the facts and evidence to a grand jury very seriously. That's why during one of his trials, one of the grand juries, he was told that he had to record it, and then he charged the person because he was being misleading the facts, and the defense lawyer was able to get him to record it, so he circumvented it and just dropped the grand jury and charged the officer. Yeah, that's the very serious work you do, said Travis County Attorney Jose Garza. In this case, an independent group of members of Travis County community heard the evidence and the law and decided that Officer Sanchez's conduct was unlawful. Mushin's family released a statement on Wednesday thanking the Travis County District Attorney Office, but saying that there's more work to be done and expects additional indictments against Officer Sanchez. What do you want the police to do when they pull up and someone has already fired the gun and points the gun at an officer? What do you want the cops to do? Do you want them to be shot? Is that what you want? I mean, I know they wear body armor, but that body armor isn't going to take a high-power rifle. They're probably wearing small arms, which goes up to maybe 45. The police department has repeatedly and intentionally deceived our family, public from the beginning, misrepresenting what happened, saying that the press that they killed a white person. They did not. I didn't really hear that press conference, so I can't say anything about the family saying that they killed a white person. Even today, despite having no supporting evidence, they tried to rewrite history by releasing a statement that claimed that Raja fired a rifle indiscriminately in a densely populated neighborhood. He did. There's evidence that he was shooting at his house. I don't know if many people know about guns, especially in the caliber. Even though the 5.56 or the .223 round is one of the weakest high-power rifles out there, if you shoot through a house, unless you hit something metal or brick, it's going to go straight through the house. It'll go through the drywall, and go out the other side of the house. Many people have done many experiments on that, and the bullet just keeps going. Now, there'll be some deflection, of course. So he was indiscriminately shooting at a densely populated neighborhood. He may be shooting at his house, but a house will not stop around. It's clearly contradicted by the police or the publicly available and actual footage of the night in question, as the footage from the police officer's body cam and the front door security camera shows Raja fired 2 shots into his own home to protect it from an intruder, and his life was taken senselessly as a result. They never found anybody in the house, though. We thus call on the Austin Police Department to admit the truth made clear in this footage. Any refusal to do so demonstrates that they do not care about the truth, and how can we trust a police force that lies to us in the name of protecting us? We also call on the District Attorney, Jose Garza, to make sure justice is served. The shooting was not justified here. Officer Sanchez fired 3 shots in the same breath as saying, "Drop your gun," after arriving in stealth without lights or sirens, without identifying himself, and without giving Raj any time to realize the police has arrived or obeyed his command. And then he shot 2 more times even after Raj dropped his gun to put his hands up. This senseless and unwarranted shooting cannot be excused by claims of poor training or fear for personal safety. Raj was never a threat to the police. His gun was pointed at the ground. Police officers must have the responsibility to protect and serve, not shoot and kill out of fear. I mean, I get why they're saying this. Don't get me wrong, they're the family members. They have to say this. They're grieving. They just lost a family member, so of course they're grieving. So I don't really fault the family for saying this. And we also call on the Austin Police Department, the District Attorney, and the Austin community to make policy changes so our community will be safer for everyone. We understand that this is going to be a long fight, and we're here for it because we want to make sure other families never have to experience a tragedy like ours. It is a tragedy, don't get me wrong. Brad Heyman, Sanchez's defense attorney, shared the following statements following the indictment. On December 19th, 2023, Travis County Grand Jury, under the direction of District Attorney Jose Garza, indicated Austin Police Officer Daniel Sanchez for deadly contact. On November 15th, 2022, Officer Sanchez responded to a 911 call of a man pointing a rifle down the street at his home. The caller notified 911 that the man fired into his house. As Officer Sanchez and other officers arrived in front of the residence, they heard more gunshots. Officer Sanchez first arrived on foot, commanded the man to drop the gun. Officer fired his rifle to neutralize the threat to himself, other officers, and the community. An expert report was provided by the district attorney by the defense counsel in hopes that the grand jury would be provided this report. The expert report detailed how Officer Sanchez used deadly force was objectively reasonable. The fact that Officer Sanchez was indicted for deadly contact further exemplifies Jose Garza's continued attack on the police officers for doing exactly what they were trained to keep the city of Austin safe from harm. It's no coincidence that the gun violence and the attacks on the police officers in the Austin area are at a current level. I'm fully confident when the jury hears all the facts in this case, Officer Sanchez will be exonerated. ADP Interim Chief Robinson Harrison also referred to a statement that reads in part, ATP officers are trained to respond to act of violence to prevent injuries in innocent persons, as seen in critical incident briefing materials released by ADP on December 1, 2021. Officer Sanchez was confronted with the subject who fired a rifle indiscriminately into a densely populated neighborhood. Officer Sanchez responded to that threat consistent with his training. ADP will continue to support Officer Sanchez as the process moves forward. For further information, please see attached briefing and associated videos. But also,
now, Power Grid Manager ERCOT says it's in a good position to deal with any winter weather.
But the KVU defenders found the power grid.
Would you shut up, please? I hate the autoplay stuff. So that is just one story. Rogue DA lawsuits. Oh, you're muted, thanks. Rogue DA lawsuit takes aim at Travis County Jose Garza petition written by 2020 Republican candidate for DA Martin Henry and filed by Travis County resident Jason Salazar aims to remove Garza from his position. Travis County District Attorney Jose Garza is responding to a new legal complaint about him being a so-called rogue DA, calling it meritless. The petition was written by 2020 Republican candidate for DA Martin Henry and filed by the Travis County resident Jason Salazar aimed to remove Garza from his position, accuse him from official misconduct by not prosecuting certain crimes. By the way, this was written December 11th by Laura Staffer on KVU as well. I think he got his case dismissed or got this lawsuit dismissed because he is a defendant in an ongoing investigation, if I remember correctly. This is the first lawsuit like this filed in Travis County under House Bill 17, which became law in September that allowed Texans to take legal actions against a district attorney who enacted policies that do not comply with state laws, including prosecuting abortions and marijuana-related crimes. Or abortion. I mean, isn't that the same thing right here? In the statement Garza wrote, this is meritless petition, just another example of how Travis County Republicans are hell-bent to undermine local elections. Keep in mind, elections have consequences. We have a primary coming up. And I hope the Democrats in Austin vote for the challenger. Because that's the only way that's going to save Austin. I mean, I know that there's a Republican running, but he stands no chance. He may be in it to win, and he may have a good campaign, but this is Austin, Texas. This is Travis County. We vote blue. Let's see. Garza's running for re-election in 2024. Monday was a statewide candidate filing deadline for the March primary. Jeremy Stein, an Austin defense attorney and former prosecutor, has filed to challenge Garza, according to KVU senior reporting Tony Pawlowski. All right, that's just really short and simple. So, I really hate saying Soros backed. I mean, I understand why they do it. District attorney is under fire for releasing a man with 7 DUIs charged in the death of 2. A man committed his 7th DUI and is charged as involved in the death of 2 people, has been released after his charges and bonds were reduced, sparking outrage against Jose Garza, the district attorney overseeing Travis County, Texas. Robert Ranglo, 52, allegedly pulled out of a Chick-fil-A parking lot and parked his car sideways on the road in the middle of the night last December. Motorcycle slammed into Ranglo's vehicle, killing both Kate Garcia, 22, and Mark Navilla, 23. Very, very tragic. It's crazy. Dennis Ferris, president of the Austin Police Retired Office Association, told Washington Examiner, "My experience is when you let someone out of jail with no consequences, he's going to do it again, and there's no question he was an alcoholic. What sane person wants to reduce charges against a person who was arrested for their sixth DUI?" Save Austin Now co-founder Matt Malosky, or not Makawak, sorry if I'm slaughtering your name, said to the Washington, by the way, this is the Washington Examiner. This was published Thursday, December 21st, 2023, by Peter Cordy, homepage editor. I guess this is December 20th, 2023, 1:51 p.m. What sane person will reduce charges against a person who was arrested for their sixth DUI? Save Austin Now co-founder Matt said to Washington Examiner, Garza's refusal to prosecute dangerous criminals is enabling habitual offenders like this one and needlessly creating hundreds of crimes victims whose lives are forever altered by his disastrous policies. Earlier this year, Rengel's charge was reduced from the DUI to DWI. I don't know what that is. While intoxicated, I don't know what this one is, to be truthfully honest with you. I know what this is. His bond was dropped from 100,000 to 10,000, and his requirement to carry a portable alcohol monitor was removed. Before the tragedy last December, Rengel was charged with a DWI 6 other times dating back to 1989 when he was 17 years old. Ferris told the Washington Examiner that his experience, Rengel had been caught 7 times, tells me he's probably driven drunk well over 300. Ferris says that this kind of case is not exclusive to Garza and pointed that Soros-funded district attorneys in other cities with similar controversies surround them. They decide that the criminals are victims and the cops are criminals, the 30-year Austin police veteran said. Garza has come under national criticism since he was elected for being too hard on police officers while being too soft on crime, and was a subject of controversy over the efforts to prosecute 17 officers who responded to a violent Black Lives Matter riots in 2020. He's also facing legal actions for abuse of our grand jury system to indict police officers and selectively withholding evidence from grand juries related to law enforcement investigations. We created a GarzaWatch.com in September to monitor DA's action to conduct research, consider filing a petition for removal with the new state law that took effect September 1st, 2023. Makawak told the Washington Examiner. Jose Garza's reign of terror is near an end, Makawak said. Hopefully. Let's see here. Law officer. This is law officer, justice law. Anti-police DA Jose Garza ignites outrage as he shows up at an officer's funeral. It was a slap in the face. Every officer seeing Garza there at the funeral. Police officer said. Is this a long one? Austin, Texas. Prosecutors throughout the country have to soft on crime. Prosecutors throughout the country has wreaked havoc on the criminal justice system. Their soft on crime, harsh on cops approaches contribute to the exit of many good men and women of their profession. Travis County District Jose Garza is at the top of the list when it comes to prosecutors have done most of the damage to public safety and local police agencies, according to law enforcement officers who have been forced to deal with him and his progressive, destructive policies. So it comes to no surprise that cops were not happy to see Garza when he showed up at the funeral of fallen officer George Pastro, the SWAT team member who was shot and killed November 11th while responding to a call about a barricade gunman holding 3 hostages. As Garza arrived at the memorial service on Friday, his presence created so much angst and outrage that he was forced to make an early exit. Multiple law enforcement sources told Fox News Digital. When he came in walking, I thought it was gall of this man to show up at a funeral for an officer killed in the line of duty when all he has done since being in office is go after cops. Then it's fair to President. We already know this. Garza arrived at the funeral and was asked to leave a room set aside for the first responders since his presence was making people uncomfortable. He then seated himself in the area set aside for the mayor, city council, where it was also not supposed to be, a law enforcement told source. Finally, the rogue prosecutor was told he was not welcome, where he situated himself and was directed to watch the funeral in the room on CCTV at the point where he decided to leave, according to another source. Even cops didn't want him at this funeral. That should tell you something. Let's see here. Save Austin now. Email Jose Garza. Stop letting violent criminals out on jail. In Austin, our current district attorney Jose Garza has increased the numbers of felons let out on Austin by 735% this year. Someone he let free has recently responsible for the murder of an Austinite. Just this year, he unilaterally decided not to pursue any charges for multiple crimes, such as 283 criminal trespassing charges and 17 assaults causing bodily injury, including assault on a pregnant woman. Well, why is he doing this? Radical ideology. He says he wants to tear down the system. Cases aren't even being presented to the judges. We must fight back before Austin becomes completely lawless. Let's see here. What is this one? See, this one really, really pisses me the F off. This is his worst offense right here. Not only is he soft on crime, he ignores the victims of the criminals or the victims' families, either the victim or the victims' families, spits in their face metaphorically and re-victimizes them. Families accuse DA of deliberately ignoring open and shut murder cases for politics. Family of Doug Cantor in Austin, Texas is blasting. By the way, this is the BPR, Business and Politics, News and Commentary, March 7th, 2023. Teresa Monroe Hamilton. Family of Doug Cantor of Austin is blasting District Attorney Jose Garza after he reported putting a young man's murder case on the back burner for 2 years because it didn't fit his liberal agenda. Instead of addressing Cantor's murder as being an urgent case that it is, Garza accused of prioritizing cases that are progressive in nature. According to Doug Cantor's brother Nick, Cantor, 25, was killed in a gang crossfire on June 12, 2021. The shooting left more than a dozen innocent bystanders wounded. He worked for a Ford Motor Company when he was visiting Austin from Michigan in the celebration of earning his master's degree. Cantor was out with friends when two rival gangs from Killeen, Texas opened fire on each other in the middle of the city packed 6th Street Entertainment and Night Hub. He was caught in the crossfire and killed. As 13 others were injured, this was the largest mass casualties event in Austin in a decade. Cantor was originally from New York when he just bought a new home, was getting ready to marry his high school sweetheart. Nick Cantor told Fox News Digital in an interview that the case has sat on the back burner and there was an actual murderer who stands potentially to walk away from this case in the wrong hands, which it very well may be. I think he was actually convicted, or at least one of them was convicted, and he's sending, I forget what the sentence was, to be truthfully honest with you, but he was found guilty. Garza has pulled multiple prosecutors off Cantor's case in order to focus on other cases, including prosecution of Army Sandral Daniel Perry, who's facing a murder charge for shooting Black Lives Matter rider who pointed a gun at him. Also found guilty. And I don't know if he's going to get paroled. Or clemency. I know the way the state of Texas does it, he has not been released yet. Nick Cantor, who added that Garza, then appointed prosecutor with little experience in Austin courtrooms, to the case shortly before the trial was set to begin, Fox News Digital reports. Throwing anyone at the case of this magnitude a month and a half before the date trial was just reckless. Cantor charged he eventually flew out to Texas in February to meet the new prosecutor, and Garza didn't even bother showing up. This kind of goes to show you that where he really sits in this, he asserted. Considering this case is a mass shooting in the heart of downtown Austin, there's been a lot of courthouse talk about why the DA isn't making this case a priority. Doug O'Connell Cantor, Austin-based attorney, pointed out, I was surprised when the DA took his most experienced trial lawyers off the case. Here, take a moment to read that Nick Cantus, his brother, was senseless murdered in Austin. Now the murderer has been released with no bail, no bond, and back into the community. When do we stop this? I stand with the victims and their family. Do you? One of the men involved in my brother's murder is now set free without bail. Let that sink in for a minute. Jeremiah Taub drove 70 miles from McLean, Texas, to Austin with 2 cars loaded in arm. I'm not going to click on that. Cantor contends that the case against a suspected shooter, DeAndre White, has not been handled expediently, and he was 19 at the time of the shooting, and Garza is said to create a wiggle room for White by not going after the number of gang members that were there at the scenes, brandishing illegal weapons, a deal that could have been cut if they had been charged, compelling them to testify against White in exchange for reduced charges. He's doing things that are clearly causing distress on the trial, and overall outcome of the case is getting justice for my brother, he stated. A number of the families of crime victims in Travis County have told Fox News Digital that Garza doesn't seem very keen on seeking actual justice. This is the sentiment for Nick Cantor, wholeheartedly agrees with. He hasn't been on Zoom calls with me in 6 months because I think he just got tired of me laying into him, Cantor said. Regarding his brother's murder, he's not anywhere near as available he led us to believe. They're not interested in this at all, he remarked. According to this person, Soros has given about $40 million to 75 prosecutors DA around the U.S. who are running their own cities and towns, not properly punishing criminals. The move to oust these outlaws need to be accelerated. I mean, I get why people say George Soros, which is now, I guess, Alex Soros. The trial was supposed to start in March, but has been scheduled for May because Garza office failed to provide all the necessary discovery documents to defense team on time. They totally dropped the ball. Cantor claimed, calling the delay another slap in the face for his family. This case does not fit their narrative, blaming police officers or making this about race. Cantor stated, the way this feels is just not something that they want to entertain, and we're forcing them to entertain it, so they're reluctantly to go through the process. This one should have been already gone to trial, asserted retired police officer Dennis Ferris, who is the president of the Austin Retired Officer Association. There's no reason why 2 years later this case has not gone to trial. It's open and shut. They got eyewitnesses. They got a person who did it. You have to wonder what's going to take for what's going on. I'll learn to read one of these days. You would have to wonder what's going on at the DA's office. Is it because they're simply incompetent? Or is it because Jose Garza really wants to let this kid because of his age off and doesn't want to do anything to him? I say this is almost over. Garza is being accused of being soft on crime and being anti-police. Others Soros-backed prosecutors are being labeled the same way. Austin police officer Justin Berry, who is one of 19 police officers that Garza is indicted for his response to the Black Lives Matter riot, told Fox News Digital in an interview that Austin elected a district attorney who was either incompetent or derelict of his duty. Now keep in mind, these 19 officers, out of the blue, when they were forced to go on trial, got their cases dismissed. Because Jose Garza was pushing back, making every excuses not to go on trial. During that period, for almost 2 years, or over 2 years, these cops were off the force. They were not able to be cops. They didn't even know what their future was going to be while they were under indictment. And just out of the blue, when they're about to go to trial, when the judge says, enough of your bullshit, Garza, we're going to trial, he drops the charges. Time and time again, Jose Garza has shown that he works more for the perpetrators of crime than he does for their victims. Very common. This is easily seen when the DA is dismissing seriously felony weapon charges against several other individuals that are involved in the death of Mr. Cantor and the mass shooting that led to injuring of 13 others, forever changing their lives, especially Jessica Ramirez, a mother of 5 who was paralyzed after being shot. You know, the Democrats say they're all for removing guns from our society. The Second Amendment is an error that needs to be corrected. We need gun control. We need everyone to give up their guns. But yet, when he has a case to prosecute gun offenses, he doesn't charge them. That's got to make no sense whatsoever. I know this is a longer video than I normally do, but this is a serious issue. Let's see here. Is this the same one? Yeah, this is the exact same one. Exact same one I just read over here. Exact same story. So yes, this is an issue. This is an issue that Austin has to rectify in the polls in the coming primaries. We have to fire Jose Garza. We must not elect Jose Garza. If Jose Garza gets reelected, Travis County is not safe. There's another Garza that's the district attorney that handles misdemeanors. She also has to go. But he's actually handling felonies. He definitely needs to go because we cannot survive if we have a prosecutor that's only concerned about prosecuting white people that defend themselves against minorities, or cops that have to use their service weapon in self-defense of themselves, other officers, and the community. You'd rather go after cops who've done their job per their training than go after criminals. This has to end one way or the other. And hopefully we could fix that. Hopefully with these stories I present you, and hopefully you listen through this whole video, I present you a case not to re-elect Jose Garza. At the bare minimum, vote for the other Democrat candidate that is running in this election. With that being said, that is my video for today. Have a Merry Christmas, since it's going to be Christmas Monday. And I'll see you on Tuesday.